You're going to love this video. It's a really, really great one. We'll get into it. Tons to learn. He's talking to kids at MIT, engineers, MBAs. Let's jump into it. Let's take it away, Steve.
Maybe from Wall Street. Good. Good. How many of you are from manufacturing companies? Oh, excellent. Where are the rest of you from? Oh, how many from consulting? Oh, that's bad. Yeah. My mind is too important to waste.
Ooh, he just like, boom, pot shot right there. Like, yes, he talked about Wall Street. Then he said like manufacturing, like obviously coming from that, like the building mindset, like a real tangible product, someone who's like investing in it. And then he's taking some shots at the consulting people. What do you say? Like the mind going to waste in consulting. Let's see. I like that aspect. I want to see what he says. Let's go a little deeper. Here we go.
You should do something.
You should do something.
Wait, why is that bad if a consultant can come into a company and use your system and basically build their applications in a ridiculously short amount of time?
So the boys are shooting back a little bit.
The only consultants I've seen that I think are truly useful are the ones that help us sell our computers. But other than that, no, seriously, I don't think there's anything inherently evil in consulting. I think that without owning something over an extended period of time, like a few years, where one has a chance to take responsibility for one's recommendations, where one has to see one's recommendations through all action stages and accumulate scar tissue for the mistakes and pick oneself up off the ground and dust oneself off, one learns a fraction of what one can. You're coming in and making recommendations and not owning the results, not owning the implementation, I think is a fraction of the value and a fraction of the opportunity to learn and get better. And so what
Let's pause for a second there. Like he really kind of like, it was like a little fun back and forth between the students, and then he kind of went in, but like there's super value in that, in the sense that he's saying like a lot of us, I think nowadays, myself included, want this instant gratification. We want to come in, we want to turn around something, we want to fix it. We think our ideas are the bee's knees and all these things. But in reality, like unless we're in there on the day-to-day fight, kind of going through it, living through, like he says, like acquiring all that scar tissue, earning it in a sense, and really getting that perspective, we're not really given the opportunity to learn. And a lot of times we have to slow our mind down. It doesn't mean we're not working hard or we're not pushing fast. It's that like we have to give ourselves the opportunity to work with the team, to develop ourselves, to develop the team, and to live through all the things where we implement, we fall down, we do those things. And it's really kind of like, you know, showing the pride of ownership, I think is really, really good. And I resonated a lot with that. I think you do too. And let's see what he says about consulting. And like, that's an attractive thing to a lot of people, to be able to go to a lot of companies and you know, be able to see a lot of things, put your ideas out, put presentations, you know, you think you're making a big deal or a big difference. Let's see what he says about that.
what you do get a broad cut at companies, but it's very thin. It's like a picture of a, I could use, I'm a vegetarian, so I won't use steak, but it's like a picture of a banana. You might get a very accurate picture, but it's only two-dimensional. And without the experience of actually doing it, you never get three-dimensional. So you might have a lot of pictures on your walls. You can show it off to your friends. You can say, look, I've worked in bananas, I've worked in peaches, I've worked in grapes, but you never really taste it. And I think that's what I think.
What a good metaphor. What good pictures like he popped in our mind to kind of really make it come home to us, to say that like, yeah, we could dabble in all these different things, and of course you come in and you think it's all perfect and the suggestions that you have are fantastic and they're going to work and you can change the world overnight, but in reality, like, we haven't really done anything. And it's just emphasizing his point. And if we just want to take a little another lesson and reflect on what he actually did with like the storytelling aspect of it is, because like you out there, like a lot of times you're trying to get your point across. You're trying to make things come home, whether you're selling a project, you're emphasizing a point, whatever it is. Like, what did he do? He abstracted out and he talked it out. He said like, I would use steak, but I'm a vegetarian. So he's relating with the audience, giving a little insight, and then he picks the fruit and he walks through it. So it's kind of like fruit, he says, and that bridge of like kind of like gives you the license with the learner, the person that you're talking to say, hey, I'm going to paint a picture. It's not perfect, it's not like ideal, but it's kind of like. So try that in the way in which you explain things when you're painting out those pictures and the metaphors and stuff like that. It's kind of like, it's one of those good things to put in our brain. It's just a great way to segue into a story to make something come home. And he does a great job saying like all these little things. It's kind of like getting a picture of those, putting it on your wall, but you've never tasted it. And then kind of bringing it home to say, geez, like, how am I spending my career? How are you going deep? And I know a lot of you out there want to run fast, like we talked about, but there's so much like richness in like burrowing down and just driving to completion and helping everybody as you go through and learning. So just great storytelling, like a great message. Let's see how he keeps it on going here.
You're also a variable expense, and in hard times you find yourself variable, right? Yes.
That's also a very good thing. Like the use of consultants is like, there's a reason why a lot of companies in the government and other people use them very well, because you can cut them when times are bad, right? When things go down or you don't like them, or the wind blows a different direction, or you need a scapegoat, right? A lot of times that they have these consultants that say like, well, it's them. And so the consultants will earn a premium because they are expendable and they will take the bullet and they will do these things. So like if you're watching this and you are a consultant, no offense, I was an internal consultant for years, and then I was an external consultant for boutiques and other firms like for a while. And the places that I felt like most enriched was when you get to go into a company and you get to sit in there and you got the luxury of doing that. I mean, I know it's expensive, but you get to go in and really help work with the teams. But even when you're doing that, you are not one of the boys. Like you are outside. And so it's a good reflection. Like there's nothing wrong with consultants. Love them. Like I was one. You're probably one. It's no big deal. But you know how to know the game you're playing, right? You are a variable expense on the books, and you can be shot tomorrow. No big deal. And so as we go through this, just like a little video, like I like these little videos, just like little nuggets of learning where it's like, what did we learn on this one? Well, you got to ask yourself, but I'll try to sum up what I learned. Well, it's like, just embrace like the ownership. Really, whatever you got your hands in, let's take pride in it. Let's really figure out who we're serving, and let's try to learn as quickly as we can in working with the customer. That's the big thing. Like I could have never predicted what it would be like to run a training company or write books and do all this stuff. And it's not about me, but like that's the example that I have in my head, where it's like when I started, it was like, oh, we're gonna market this way and all the people are gonna run to us. It's gonna be great. And then day 3, you realize that was the worst idea. It didn't work at all. But like, as I look back and as you look back on your career, it's like those tough times are the things that you actually remember. And odds are, I would bet, those are the things that are so positive. They may have been so painful and stressful and cause you to lose your hair and lose your sleep and lose everything in between. But those are the things that you're really reflecting on. So if you're taking anything from the smiling Steve here, it's like you're in the good spot. If you have the ownership, if you have the time, if you have the team, then yay, there's no running away from that. Run into that. And if you're in consulting, why not saddle up with a company or your own company? You want to take that gamble? Let's talk. Let's do it. Like to really own something and really embrace it. And then I just like this little video. I think it's a good little lesson. And I'll see you in the next one. Adios.